Hello, hello, people. So exciting to see people in the room. Hello, welcome.
Hey, folks.
Greetings, Phil Zimbardo.
My, there's a lot of you.
Yay. Ilsa, thank you so much for coming. Phil, Ilsa, Phil, I wanted to introduce you guys. Ilsa's dialed in from Pakistan.
Oh, wonderful. That's amazing.
So, before we get too cozy, I want to say that this is being live streamed to Facebook, and this is also going to be recorded in just a sec. Be careful what you share. But we are here with Dr. Phil Zimbardo and Dr. Mel Ganus and myself, Łukasz Garczewski. Hi. We're going to give people, let's say, a couple more minutes to get here. We have a nice, diverse crowd. Welcome, everybody. So just hang tight. We're going to be starting in just a bit. You have time to make a very quick coffee or a cup of tea.
Toilet run.
Or that, yes.
I can show you my water bottle, a lovely, if you see things with tentacles on it, please send them to me or send me pictures of them. I don't need more stuff so much as more pictures.
All right. Good. And we have 2 people watching on Facebook. Hello, people in Facebook land.
Facebook.
And I'm now going to try and make that into more people on Facebook. So.
Thank you guys so much for spending this time with us today. Wow. You're here.
There we go.
Well, excuse me, Łukasz,
Yeah.
when you introduce the people, they should say where they are located. You know, if they're in America, what city, if you're Europe, what country?
Oh, sure. Well, once
Yeah.
we get to the Q&A
Right.
part, I think that's probably best if we do that.
Right.
Yeah, but I'll make a note to remind people. Yeah.
Anybody who wants to pop something in the chat, say hi and where you're from.
Yeah.
If you are here in the Zoom chat, pop us a note. If you're off in Facebook, pop us a note. Hi, and you're here. Why are you here?
Thank you for taking over, Mel. I'm just sharing this stuff in all the right places, and I will be right with you. And that's going to take us to probably 5 past, which is when we can start this thing.
Rock on. Thank you guys for all being so prompt too. You know how that starting on time thing works.
And we have Eva from Spain. Welcome.
I want to know where in Spain, because I have friends living there.
Wonderful. Okay, so yes. So one of the things I want you guys to be able to see how many people are here who care about these topics, about this fantastic professor. I don't know which side you're on of me, but the potential we have to work together. This isn't about us telling you what to do. This is about us telling you what we're thinking and then trying to figure out how can we collaborate to make the world any better than it is right now. So hi Urzi and Christina and Rebecca and Shari, yay, Jim, Mukti, wonderful, Stacy, so happy to see you, Courtney, way to go, Courtney's in the house, and Tia and Eva, big shout out. William, thank you so much for being here. My screen is officially maxed out. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We are now 5 past, which means we can start. I will hit record and then we can go. All right. Welcome everybody to this Friday talk titled Humanity at Our Best. I have with me two very distinguished scientists and practitioners of empathy and care for humanity and the world. And I will introduce them both in just a sec. I want to start with that with a little bit more information about what this is, because you came to a talk, but it is actually a experiment or a test. What the three of us have been working on is a short article for Psychology Today about the current situation in the world and what that means for the future, where we should go from here. And we want to test the article on you to see if it hits home, if it resonates with you. So all critique and all comments are welcome, and we're going to have time towards the end for questions, but also comments to the article. We're hoping that you will help us improve it. And so the way this is going to go is we're going to read the article, discuss it a little bit with you, and then hopefully thank you for your contributions. All right. So the authors and speakers today, first of all, the man who doesn't need any introductions, but to keep the formula here, I am going to introduce him. So Dr. Z is head of the Heroic Imagination Project and Professor Emeritus at Stanford University. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And we also have Dr. Mel Ganus, also known as the Squid Lady, who has a doctorate in education and is the co-founder of Quality of Life Experiments and the creator of the Squid method, which we're also going to be talking about. And my name is Łukasz Garczewski. I am an activist and a social engineer in Poland, very much on the front lines of the current crisis. That's going to be my contribution to the talk today. So thank you all for coming, and over to you, Phil.
Thank you, Łukasz. So my opening part of this presentation is humanity at our best, with pine cones and squid. So how to squid our squid minds. Whenever you feel like something is wrong, can we stop to ask Q questions to better you understand? Can we imagine our choices? Then D, decide on a plan, and finally act wisely. And I want to add often and well. So in section 1 is humanity at our worst. Here we are again. Most of you know that back in August 1971, just over 50 years ago, I became well known globally for creating the Stanford prison experiment. We randomly assigned roles of guard or prisoner to our male college student participants. The guards worked 8-hour shifts. It was a job for them, while the prisoners lived in our simulated prison 24/7. Within a few days, the guards became cruel and sadistic toward the prisoners, who reacted passively and began to have emotional breakdowns. It was the sanity of Christina Maslach who brought me to my right mind and motivated me to end the experiment early. She was horrified by what she saw going on when she came down to visit, but she had the courage to openly question my authority. So thanks to her heroic action, I terminated the Stanford prison study early. It had continued only 6 days instead of the intended 2 weeks. Before those days in August 1971, I was known as one of the professor's most supportive of students at Stanford. Since then, in the past 50 years, I have never stopped trying to understand human behavior and the systems that drive us toward evil and dehumanizing actions. As part of my desire for a positive change in human behavior, I have been a pioneer in training youth to become everyday heroes. And yet, in these times, evil continues to impact our humanity. In our media feeds, we see young Russian soldiers convinced to dehumanize and abuse and kill their Ukrainian brothers. Even those who never wanted to engage in such horrific behaviors are trapped. They obey their commanders, who are also mired in the need to be obedient to their leaders. And these leaders are controlled by their malevolent president, as you all know, Vladimir Putin. While we gasp at the atrocities in Ukraine, we also hear the latest news here in the United States. Mass murders in our churches and shopping malls and streets. Beyond what we see in our news bubbles, we know that around the world, the insane brutality continues, even as we try to teach young people the universal benefits of humane behavior and respect for others, including those who may appear to be different. And yet, I hope people like Dr. Mel Ganus and Łukasz Garczewski are two strong promoters of positive and humane behaviors globally. We need more of them. We need you. Take it away, Łukasz.
Section 2, humanity at our best, caring for strangers. I too have hope, a stalwart and unyielding kind of hope that comes from witnessing what is possible. I live in Poznan, Poland. For 83 years, Poland has been living in peace. War at our borders seemed to be forever in our past, and refugees from a neighboring state, an impossibility. Then came Putin's shocking invasion and bombings of Ukraine, our neighboring country. My home is near one of the train stations used by the Ukrainian refugees in transit. I have witnessed many Poles who have humanely provided help to the exhausted refugees. From the first days of the war, Poles drove to the border and beyond to pick up the overwhelmed women and children and take them to safety. Others prepared tea and food to hand out at train stations. And some Poles invited refugees into their homes, where they still are in some cases, by the way. Still others helped Ukrainians in need look for jobs, in some cases helping transport some to their relatives in Western Europe. Thousands, perhaps millions of spontaneous acts of kindness, large and small, have occurred in complete solidarity and with seamless collaboration over weeks. As I write this, more than 3 million Ukrainian refugees have crossed our border. The BBC estimates more than 14 million have fled their homes. More than 6 million have fled to neighboring countries like Poland, but most have come through our country. Some still live somewhere in our cities. And so many of our people, perhaps most of the country, see Ukrainians as fellow human beings, struggling and deserving of support and kindness. I continue to be in awe of the compassion and commitment of my fellow Poles. I am in awe of the compassion and commitment my fellow Poles have displayed, proving that universal and unconditional empathy is possible, but it is fragile. As the weeks passed, more and more volunteers burned out. Families who took entire refugee families under their roof struggled to adjust to this new life. And even as local authorities and the central government provided basic financial support to refugees, some have started asking, how much will all this cost us in Poland? The next test then is a more difficult one. Can we use this foundation of spontaneous generosity to build an enduring culture of care and support? Can we take our anger against the atrocities and injustices of this war and also continue to rage at the many small everyday injustices still to come as we forge a shared future with our Ukrainian brothers and sisters? Edward Stachura, a Polish poet, wrote in 1978. He wrote in Polish, "Dla wszystkich starczy miejsca pod wielkim dachem nieba," which translates to, "There is room enough for all under the sky's vast roof." So can we believe that fully? Can we act on it in our consumer choices, in our business decisions, and in our political actions? We, that is to say, we the people of Poland, and we the people of Earth. We need systems and methods that humanize and support all the people in this world, not only the people who look like us. We need upgraded perspectives and tools, including tools of the mind, tools like Mel's squid method.
Thank you. Section 3, pine cones and squid. We can all be heroes. Our world is on fire, metaphorically and literally. Globally, the number of people suffering has risen. Despite all our brainpower and technology, evil continues to be part of our human lifetimes. I know almost no one who has lived a life without trauma. Post-traumatic stress disorder seems almost ubiquitous. And yet I too have hope. From ancient times, wildfires have destroyed forests. But as the fires burn, pine cones, sealed tight until heated, burst open to plant seeds for new trees that grow in the wake of the destruction. And you, my friends, are pine cones. Never before in our lives have we seen so many people around the world moving into heroic action, caring for others and this precious planet we live on. Yes, evil continues to threaten, dehumanize, and destroy too many of our kin. Nevertheless, angels exist among us, springing up to help make the world a better, saner place for all to enjoy a better life. What prompts us to show kindness? What triggers our compassion and willingness to care for others when we instinctively prefer to mind our own business and stay uninvolved? Somehow we learn to act responsively. We may engage in trial and error efforts to improve the lives of others. We call those quality of life experiments. Learning how to squid is one of the best ways we know, and we invite you to try it. 5 simple steps to trigger mindfulness and consideration of others when we most need to. The key to unlocking our heroism starts with noticing when something seems wrong, then examining what's going on. The way we teach this, whenever you feel like something is wrong, can you stop to ask questions before you go on? Can you ask good questions to better understand? Can you imagine your choices, then decide on a plan? 5 steps. The key is knowing when to stop and ask questions. With that, Consider the bystander effect, where most people are instinctively avoiding getting involved, especially with the concurrent phenomena of diffusion of responsibility. The behavioral norms make it lower and lower likelihoods of someone helping when a person is in distress and there's multiple people around. Knowing that, we each have the choice every time to evaluate the situation and determine if we might be able to help. We can each be active first responders, breaking through the silent rule of the crowd to be passive and triggering others present to work together to help make a difference. That's humanity at our best. Every day, we each have opportunities to be everyday heroes. Whenever you feel like something is wrong, can you, squid, be one of the pine cones in today's crazy world? And suddenly the future may be a little saner, a little brighter. We still have hope for humanity. We fervently believe the best is yet to come.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, so that is our draft, everybody. That is the draft. I hope you were taking notes. Now we're gonna have. I have two small questions, or the questions are small. The answers probably a little bit more complex to my two colleagues, and then it's over to you. So have your questions ready and your comments ready. I want to dig a little bit deeper into the bystander effect and what it takes to break out of it and become a hero. So Phil, you mentioned your colleague or one of the experiments participants, Christina Maslach, and I always like to look at the positive examples in these cases and ask what was special about her. And to expand that into our main topic today, which is the war in Ukraine, there are soldiers, I hear from Ukrainian sources, that are now disabling their own tanks by pouring sand into the gas port or the gas tank. There are people who
Russian soldiers,
yes, very important Russian soldiers, right? So this is probably the highest act of disobedience that they can do without actually engaging their own officers directly. So what does it take to stop being a bystander, and how can we do it? And also, how can we break others out of it, out of this bystander mentality?
Yeah, that's the basic question we have been dealing with for a long time. And partly it means never allowing yourself to be totally drawn into every situation. Part of your mind should be a bystander, looking in at what's happening, observing, and then deciding, should you intervene or should you just leave? So that was the question that Christina Maslach faced. She was not a participant in the study. In fact, she was not even there, but she and I had started dating, and she came down on a Thursday night. The experiment started on Sunday, so that we could go to dinner afterwards. And then she observed the brutality of the guards, who were at that moment totally inhumane toward the prisoners. And she ran out in tears, and I ran after, and I was trying to convince her that she's a psychologist, and what we're observing something unique in human nature, how a situation can create evil in really good people. And then the key was she broke through and said that I have been changed by my situation, that I'm unaware of it because I'm embedded in that situation. And she encouraged me to come to my senses and really step out of my role and look in as a professor, a bystander, someone who loves students, who would never allow students to be abused like that. And so so she deserves a hero status, and her heroic action enabled me to begin to start my Heroic Imagination Project, or HIP, in which we try to train young people how to be an everyday hero. So it's not, and again, with the whole concept of heroism had not existed in psychology before I started in 2010. And so the important thing about the Hero Project and our project with Mel is training people how to be positive upstanders and never be passive bystanders. And that's the key. Heroes are upstanders. Heroes, the key is action, but you got to take the right action and the wise action, and you have to take it at the right time. And you have to be able to resist the rule of the group, don't get involved, probably even the rule of many of our parents. Is that, it's mind your own business, is what they tell us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we end with, humanity is our business. I must intervene. I must take action that other people might judge as heroic.
Thank you.
I'll throw in a couple more lines on that
Sure.
one. One of the things, having been in psychology for so long, it blows my mind how few people are familiar with the term bystander effect. And so when I'm talking with people who haven't studied psychology, it's one of the first things that comes up is, have you heard this? They can kind of put together what the words might mean, but they do not understand how pervasive it is and how all of us experience it. So what I try to do is make the bystander moments a whole lot more present for them in their awareness. And that's a huge part of where SWID comes from, is you have to feel like something's wrong and to notice that you're feeling something is wrong, to get to that point where, okay, now you're making an absolute aware choice of, in this situation where I see that someone is in distress, am I comfortable looking at whether or not I can help? None of us can help all the time. There is no way I can go and take care of each person I see that is holding a cardboard sign asking for help. But I am making the choice consciously every time now. And it goes beyond people. It's things like litter. If I'm walking past a piece of trash on the ground, if any of us are walking past a piece of trash on the ground, we don't pick it up. But it's part of the problem. And so just developing a habit of going for a walk with a glove and a trash bag gives me the opportunity to use my back for as long as it'll last to do a little something for the planet. And it's this choice over and over again of, well, what can I do?
So let me, you took part of my question and answered it before I asked it, but I will follow up and say, that sounds like a lot of work. Like these, you have to constantly make these choices. And you're telling us that that's good. It seems like a lot of work. So what do you think? What did you get in exchange for the mental labor, and what do you think others will get in return?
I like the way you put that. It is a lot of work. It's exhausting. I see myself as a first responder, but not just looking for blood on the pavement. I'm looking for people in distress. And I know that when I go outside of my home, that is the mindset I'm taking with me. And it is heavy. It's something where it can be exhausting, feeling like I have a duty to be there for other people. On the other hand, it's a burden worth carrying. And I think that the biggest piece for me is not feeling helpless. It's not that I have to help everybody. It's not that I will help everybody, but to feel helpless in a situation where I want to be able to, I'm not there anymore. I've got the training. I've gone, you know, I'd be curious who in the chat can say that they have taken first aid traiing. And if you haven't, why haven't you? That's one of my basic requests. So how do we, you mentioned the workload, and part of it for me is we're making choices 100% of the time. Are we making them cognitively, or are we making them unconsciously?
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna kind of add to that the conscious choices have a sort of liberating quality to them. The fact that I am aware that I am choosing to be here in this moment with both of you and all of you in these crazy times is a conscious choice. I could be doing something else, right? And that has a certain freedom to it. All right, so you've been very active in chat. Thank you. I'm going to select a couple questions, but do keep posting them. Tia asks an interesting question here. She says, if a person is an everyday hero, by Phil's definition, just to get some kind of praise or prize, would it truly be called heroism, or is it just selfishness?
Yeah, that's a good question. The problem is it from the perception of the actor? So if you're doing it in order to get something, some reward other than service to humanity, then it doesn't qualify as heroism. Is that, you know, the reason you should help is not to glorify yourself. So it might be that, let's say, well, I'm going to take an example, but the idea is heroes are selfless. Heroes are sociocentric, not egocentric. So the example you stated is somebody is doing something for egocentric reasons, to have people notice me, have people say, "Oh, that was wonderful." So it's the act of heroism, helping someone in need, is now modified by the intention of the helper. And if the intention is to call visibility, give me more visibility, then we say, no, that doesn't qualify as hero. That the person has unqualified themselves, even from the action of which would be, the action would be labeled as heroism, but the motive is unheroic.
Does that mean that heroes should not be rewarded, though?
No, heroes are rewarded by the society. So it's not a the example you gave is you're doing it in order to get attention and praise, and you know, what we're saying is, if you do a heroic act that other people notice, and then they say, wow, that was really unusual, I'm so glad you helped, or even the person you helped, you know, who might be hurt or might be suffering in some way, that is, they give you the title of heroism. You never give yourself the title, you never make it a self-reference.
Okay, so the hero label is something that is given and not taken.
Yes,
I definitely want to second that. One of the ways I've been going after it is, it's very difficult to call myself a hero, but it's very easy to call myself a first responder. Right. And one of the names I try to you know, anyone can be a first responder. You don't have to be a paid medic to be the person who crosses that social norm that says don't get involved, and to choose to see yourself that way. That's the framing that I use as far as how do we get people to participate as everyday heroes, as we get ourselves to see that we are capable of being first responders in a lot of these situations. To the whole thing about motive, which I think is a really interesting one. I find it addictive. I find it addictive at a chemical level to practice kindness. And whether it is acknowledged or not doesn't matter to me. I feel better for having done something. And in that land of altruism being something that you do with no reward whatsoever, if there is a chemical reward to me and I feel like a better human being after I do a thing, that I think is absolutely valid and something that we want to work on leveraging.
Yeah. We have another heroic question here. This one focuses on acting in face of danger. So Ilza, I hope I'm reading that right, writes, heroes touch our heart, fill us with admiration, and make us reconsider our view of the world. Just look at the plethora of superhero movies these days, and you can see how much our society values and loves heroes. What makes certain people take heroic actions in the face of danger, of great danger?
That's a good question. I mean, there's not enough research on heroism to answer that. Is, you know, what are the characteristics, background characteristics of heroes? That we are trying to study that. But again, most heroes are disown the label. Almost always in all the experiences I've had, when you say, oh, thank you for that wonderful heroic deed, the answer is, oh, it wasn't heroic. I did what anyone could do. Then I add, oh, you did what anyone should do. But again, it's really important to make low level heroic acts part of your everyday thinking. And you do something that not only helps somebody physically, somebody's hurt in an accident, you do a thing to help people psychologically. So I live in San Francisco, California. It's a wonderful city with one exception. There are 70,000 people without homes on the street.
Yep.
In fact, and they get a label, they're called homeless people. Sometimes it's a mother and a child or several children, and many of them are begging. So if I'm going in that, well, in the spreading, it used to be at a certain part of San Francisco called the Tenderloin. If I'm going in there for something, I will, before I go out, I will always put a few single dollars in my pockets. And when I see somebody, I usually focus on older people, that I'm going to give them money before they even ask, because to be a beggar itself is horrible for people to experience. But before I give the dollar, I show the dollar I'm about to give it. I say, "Excuse me, what is your name?" And they'll tell their name, and I say, "My name is Philip. Where do you come from?" They'll say, and I say where I came from. And then I give them the dollar and I say, I wish it could be more, and I hope your luck improves. So it's in that 1 minute, 2 minute interaction, what I have done is humanize them, taking them from a dehumanizing status of being a homeless person, like a rag picker, they used to call in the olden days, and gave them a little bit more dignity. And, you know, so again, it's thinking, what can I do? What action can I engage in that will make someone in the world feel better about themselves?
And I can add a story here that also kind of touches on the danger aspect that Ilza is asking about. Now, note, I am not a psychologist, nor am I a scientist. So take this with a grain of salt, but there's an interesting question here, I think. A dear friend of mine who is Ukrainian, he is a business leader, a manager working in Poland, shifted my perception of I will call it a complicity of the Russian people in this conflict. Because And Mel and I have spent many hours talking about the war, and being the empathetic people that we are, our hearts went out to the Ukrainians who were under attack, but also to the people of Russia who are hurting and have to live under this tyrant. And when I spoke to my friend from Ukraine, he said, "That's bullshit." And he was really angry. And I said, what can they do? If you're a Russian citizen, what can you do? If you protest, they will put you in jail or worse. And he just looked at me and said, if 3 million of them protested, would they put them in jail? So when Phil says heroes are sociocentric, I wonder what's the spark that engages a wider section of society, so that it's truly a social movement, a sort of social act of heroism, right? That is happening somewhat in pockets. It's not a universal movement yet. Maybe it will be. And we all know we need these universal movements all around the world in various causes, including the climate crisis and others.
Right.
Yeah.
Which gives me the opportunity. So in the room, we have one of the people behind Eco Heroes. So Shari is here. Phil, do you want to describe the climate crisis and the nature of heroism in that kind of domain?
Oh, yeah, very good.
Yeah, well, Shari could do it better than I can, but
Shari's not willing to go on camera right now.
okay, good. In every nation around the world, we are facing a terrible crisis. Our climate is changing for the worst. It's because of carbon dioxide in the air, which is heating up the oceans by several degrees, and then it's changing the quality of the atmosphere. So in unpredictable ways, but what it's doing is creating new kinds of disasters all around the world. So right now, for the past year or two, in California, we've had an enormous drought. There's been very little rain, and that means our reservoirs are drying up. We're already on water rationing, but there's no sign that it's going to get better. I mean, that rain is going to come. And the other problem with having a dry region is increases the likelihood of having wildfires, fires started by a lightning stroke or something. And as you saw in the media all last year, we've had many, and they are starting up again. At the same time, in the middle Atlantic of America, they are having flooding, and they are having tornadoes. And on the East Coast, they're having extreme winters, huge amounts of snow when they, in some places, they never had snow before. So, and this is true in many countries around the world. So climate change, I mean, working to help people do what is necessary, not to contribute to it. Ideally, not to drive your car so much, or to get a hybrid car, which is electric and gas, and just think about, what you can do to reduce your dependence on carbon features in your environment. But so for me, this is the most significant problem that every person is facing around the world. And it's only getting worse. I mean, literally getting worse day by day. So the question is, what will our children and grandchildren think about how we helped increase this danger rather than we worked to reduce it?
And it does seem like many people still treat this as sort of business as usual,
Right.
whereas others are dropping everything and trying to make a difference.
Right.
A friend of mine has just announced that she is dropping out of college because that's the only way she can focus on the climate crisis.
Wow, that's extreme. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
All right, so
those are the kinds of decisions that really show I am more drawn to working on a global problem than I am toward doing this thing that society, that family expects me to do.
Yes. So we have space for one more question, and I have Ava's here. Ava writes, how can we distinguish when it is actually not our business? Because we said humanity is our business, right? Phil said. So how can we actually find the places where it's not our business? The line seems blurry many times. Sometimes we might feel responsible or moved to help for things that are not really ours to solve.
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I mean, humanity is our business is a nice phrase, but suppose you're in a supermarket and you're checking out, and in front of you is a woman with a child, and she starts hitting him, and he's crying, and she keeps hitting him. What should you do? What can you do? What should you do? And I think you have to intervene in mindful ways. So again, you could say, you might, so you in this case, you're going to distract the mother to say, what did he do to deserve such abuse? So you're making the mother feel that it is abuse, and that just because she's a mother, she doesn't have the right to hit anyone, including her children. So it's thinking about how to intervene, and the goal is to get her to stop hitting the kid, because it's not only painful for the kid, it's humiliating to all the people watching. Now, there are times you don't intervene. Let's say you have two men having an argument, and it soon gets into physical. They hit each other. You don't intervene when it could affect your life, that they could both start hitting you, or one of them has a knife or one of them has a gun. It's looking at each situation and saying, what can I do? What should I do to make a bad situation less bad? Not going to change bad to good, but make it less bad. But what it means is it's thinking about these things all the time. So it's not suddenly you're in a situation and you say, oh, what should I do? And you haven't thought that you've thought about it. And so in our hero training, one of the things we do is we ask people to think about what you would do in this situation. And then we show videos of people doing that, doing a good thing, or people doing nothing, or doing a wrong thing. And so our eco heroes are, how can we train youth to get involved in projects, their own or others around them, that help minimize the climate change, that help improve the quality of our environment. And it's, and there's many things we describe in our Heroic Imagination Project so that young people can become eco-heroes. And again, we want to get away from the notion of a solo hero. That's the traditional one, a person. We want to encourage people to be ensemble heroes, to work in a group, to work together as a unit. And it could be even just one other person. So maybe your first job, if that young man is dropping out of college to work on these issues, maybe he has to convince one other person that he is right and they should join him. Because then that validates your ideas, your position.
Yeah,
no,
I would definitely like to jump in on it, especially with the examples that Phil was giving. Is the thing in the grocery store is one that I am literally out there prepared for. And before the pandemic, when it was more normal to be allowed to talk to people that were strangers. If I saw I'm constantly aware of the sounds of distress. And if there's a child in a shopping cart and a parent pushing a child through a grocery store where the entire packaging industry is designed to get the kid asking for things, there's this constant conflict. And if I hear the sound of a parent and a child getting frustrated with each other, I evaluate the situation. So I stop. I ask the question of, is this a situation where I might be able to help? To Eva's question is, what if it's not appropriate? And there's lots of times I don't. And then I evaluate, can I pop in and be the distracting element? So if we're trying to stop a particular behavior from escalating, then I show up and I'm like, hi, could you use a quick distraction here? It's a magic pencil. See if you can change the color of the pencil. And I'm making a lot of eye contact with the mom or the dad, and I'm making sure that what I'm doing is not overwhelming them. I recognize I am using my white female privilege. This does not work the same way for a guy or people who don't look the same as the people they're approaching, but it is these things of how do I interrupt the behavior that is getting worse in a way that doesn't escalate it. So that's that one. The other example I definitely wanted to mention was a story when I was giving one of my favorite younger people a driving lesson. We were at a shopping mall parking lot and we saw a big tow truck, one of those big flatbed tow trucks pulled up in front of us. And the person driving it had a passenger who was leaning away from him and he hit her. And it just blew me away. I've never seen someone do that in the contexts that I've been in. I'm very white privileged bubble. And here I am teaching my teenager how to drive. He's behind the wheel. And I'm like, okay, now we're going to do a different version of what do we do in this situation? There's no way I'm letting that just slide and pretend it didn't happen. So I look and I see the tow truck companies, and this is the evaluation. You're on the fly. What do? The tow truck company has their phone number on the side of the truck. So I start to call that and then hang up before I finish dialing because I realized that could just go directly to this guy. That's not what I'm trying to accomplish. The right answer in that situation was 911. So I called 911. The truck was still stopped. I was able to talk to a 911 operator and walk through, here's what we've seen. Within a few minutes, they had a police car on their way. And the story goes on, and I can tell more of the story later. But it is that notice that something seems wrong and ask yourself the question about, could I be helpful here? And then Eva, the main thing I really want to get to, and they teach this in first aid, Red Cross training and so on, is just because you think something might be wrong doesn't mean it is. So if I see someone slumped over, it doesn't mean that they're sick and need an ER run. I shouldn't jump to the assumption that they want help. A lot of people who are living without homes don't want as much attention as they sometimes get. So how to open that conversation is just the opening line of, could I talk to you? Is there some way I could help? And by opening the conversation, you give them the room to be part of what happens next instead of forcing, we're going to do this on you. Does that help clarify all that?
It does for me. It does for me. We are nearing the end of our time slot. So thank you, Phil and Mel, for reading the article. Thank you for all your questions and comments. It certainly highlighted a couple of things we can maybe improve upon or expand upon in the text. And we hope that this was interesting and made you think about the world in a little bit of a different way. And now I want to invite you to also try and nudge the world into a better state. and help us change it for the better. So what Mel and I are doing, have been doing for over a year now, on and off, different projects, is Mel's quality of life experiments, which is creating these tools of the mind, these ways to shift our thinking so that we all become better human beings and can spread the skill set, the methods to others. Squid, which was highlighted today several times, is one of those methods, but there is more. And we are trying to build a toolbox for a better world. Some of it is physical, like the magic pencil Mel showed. Some of it is conceptual, or in the form of a book or a PDF. But that's what we're building. And if you can help, if you can contribute financially or through your time and engagement and sharing the stuff that we create, that would be a step towards a better world. So help us make humanity what it can be by contributing and by supporting our work. Thank you all for being here. We're not closing this space. So if you want to stay and chat after we end the recording, I'm going to unmute everybody and just take your turn. And we can stay here and chat a little bit. No.
Before you end the recording,
yes.
One of the things I would love to invite people to do is this is Phil's 89th time around the sun. And I know a lot of the people in the room here are here because this guy is here. We do have squid sessions every Friday and Saturday at the same time. And Phil will eventually be able to come back to another one. But in honor of his being here today, I was going to ask everybody to unmute and sing in horrible cacophony the happy birthday song.
Oh, wait, I need to allow them to unmute. Wait.
So if everybody can unmute, yes, you have to be able to, and it will sound horrible if you have not already heard this, but that is part of the beauty of it. So are we mostly unmuted? Are we ready?
Getting there, yeah.
Almost. Phil, have you heard the happy birthday song on Zoom before?
No, never.
It's painful. Enjoy. Okay. 1, 2, happy birthday to you.
Cumpleaños.
Happy birthday to you.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Happy birthday, dear Zimbardo.
Cumpleaños.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Feliz cumpleaños para ti.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. That was
Much
awesome,
appreciated.
honorable. Well done. And with that,
Feliz cumpleaños.
thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. And I also
now
need
it's
to
freestyle.
stop. No.